Charlie Vann here with Diamond Dallas Page. Dallas, how are you today? And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, bro. I just did a killer. What I do is I put two workouts together. I'll do the first 25 minutes, which will be about 30. At 25 minutes, I go into safety zone, and then I'll close that workout out. I'll do it at the end. But what I do after that is, after I go from safety zone and get back up and start doing it, I fill up next one, which will probably be an hour. So I literally get two workouts in one, because some people don't have an hour, so I do, 30-minute workouts. I'll do 40, I'll do 25, so people have a broad, there's over 300 workouts on my app. And I don't do every single one of them. I have my girlfriend Paige, who's amazing, or my business partner Yoga Doc, or maybe my daughter Lexi, whoever to do them. But I'm probably about 90% of the workouts. So this one I call it intermediate to advanced, which means intermediate positions. Like you could do it if you do the workout, but the conditioning. Everyone was like, "Man, that kicked my ass." Mine too.
Well, I'm thankful you're taking this time with me. And how do you like to recover post-workout? And what's your advice to people watching this when it comes to recovery?
For starters, I'm drinking a shake, and my shakes, I use plant-based protein because whey protein is shit. It's the bottom of the barrel. For all the plant-based organic drinks out there, Orgain for the money. I almost developed my own, but Orgain's so good that I can't compete with it, So I figure I'll just tell. And I met Andrew, the owner of the company. I wanted to white label him, so meaning put DDP Organics on it or something. I wanted to white label that, 7 years ago, and they were nothing. But he was a doctor who got cancer as a kid, and he couldn't take any solids with his cancer. So the doc put him on Ensure. Now, this kid's smart. His dad was a pediatrician. And so, he was going to be a doctor, go to med school, the whole thing, which he did eventually. But he said to the doctor, "Is this Ensure good for me?" He's, "Oh, actually, it's shit." He's like, "Why are you feeding it to me?" He's like, "Because there's nothing else." That kid would end up going to college. He went through his internship, everything. He could have taken over his father's practice. His mission is to freaking make something that was healthy, that tastes amazing. And that's what got him. He don't pay me to say any of that shit. It's just real. So I'll use that. But instead of throwing in some of those powdered greens that you're seeing out there, I take a whole head of organic, whether it's red leaf or red or green, not iceberg lettuce, the real shit that's got the real vitamins, and I'll throw a whole one in. I make my own cashew milk, so I put in fresh organic, so I know what I'm eating. I have about as good a handle on what you're putting in your body as anyone, and not bragging. It's just a fact. I know more than about 95% of the doctors out there, like what kind of food do you have? Maybe kind of fill it up for you, please. I know what food is the best food. Our water in our house is on a filter system that runs through 43 minerals. That's before the big filter system that goes through everything, because I don't want that shit spraying on my body. Like your skin is the biggest organ you have, and it absorbs everything. So then think about using all those chemicals on your hands. Guess what? Reasons why you should wear gloves, because it goes right into your body. Again, I'm on a quest to, first of all, be in this shape and look. I'll probably lose a little bit more hair, but everything else, I'm going to keep it, or I'm going to get stronger between now and 75. I'll be 65 in 2 months. And for the last 10 years, I've been telling people, I'm not preparing for 65 because that's going to be here tomorrow. All of a sudden, guess what? I'll be 65 in 2 months. So I've been saying I'm not prepared for 65. I'm prepared for 75, 85, 95, believe it or not, 105. I'm preparing to have a vehicle, meaning my body, that is in the best shape that it can be. A great example who thinks like I do, Tom Brady.
Yes, yes. I think he even mentioned right when everything with COVID and that said, I live sick, just meaning he takes so good care of his body, make sure he gets a lot of sleep, he's eating right. I mean, looking at 43, playing his 10th Super Bowl, 10th Super Bowl.
You can't, him and LeBron James are the two smartest athletes out there. Russell Simmons, too. Not Russell Simmons. What's the quarterback from?
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, another guy who spends $1 million a year on his body. Like, I just bought a hyperbaric chamber. I've had one for the last 5 years. And it goes up to 12 PSI, which means pound per square inch, which means you're 30 feet below sea level. Not till you hit 12% that the pressure of the oxygen is pushed into your blood system. So it heals you at a cellular level. But the thing that's really interesting, when you get to 12 PSI, now it also will push into the blood-brain barrier. Oxygen, pure oxygen, is one of the greatest healers. And it's never really talked about because they can't make any real money on it. If it
why is that? Why is that they can't?
Because it's a machine.
Yeah.
You get in, or you get your scuba equipment on and you go diving. If they can't make big money on it, like pharmaceutical companies, it's our entire system now, and you're never going to change it. I don't. There's only there's only two charities that I give to. One's the Cauliflower Alley Club. 100% of the money that comes into the CAC goes to help the boys. Wow. The other one's the DAV, the Disabled American Veterans Association. Like 80% of that money goes to help the disabled veterans. And for my company, like it isn't just like at Veterans Day that we do sales for people in the military. Like when I'm doing the only time you'll ever see my product ever at 30% off is over like Christmas, because it's a little piece of me given to people. Because I know my product is worth 10 times what I charge. And you might see it 20% sometimes. A lot of times it's 10 or 15. But you'll never see it over 30, except if you're a veteran, and we're about to work that into first responders as well. Cops, firemen, always 50% off. Always. Every fucking day. And I can't tell you how much those guys appreciate it. And I was never in the military. Because when I tried to get it, I went and take a test. I was reading at like a 3rd grade level. Like, I fucked up that test so bad. They were like, you need to go study, learn how to read. I had ADD and dyslexia at a time when no one knew what the hell that was. At 30 years old, I was probably reading at a 3rd grade level.
So you didn't find out till you're 30 that you were dyslexic?
I just thought I couldn't read. I just thought, man, I just can't do it. I can't keep the focus. The shit shifts around on me. I finally made a decision at 31 I was going to learn how to read proficiently, and that meant good enough to get by. And it's like people who go on a diet, or a workout program. If they don't change their circumstance, they might do it for 2 or 3 weeks. then life will bump, and they'll be out because life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you change your circumstance and set yourself up to win, many times you will fall. And for me to say, I'm going to learn how to read proficiently, that was my first goal. And okay, so what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to read a book from cover to cover. I'd never done that before. And I thought, okay, I'll read that book from cover to cover. How am I going to, that seems overwhelming. Like, fuck, what am I going to do? Well, I'll read one page a day. Like that was my, you know what, while we're talking, just let me close off my phone.
Yeah, totally fine.
Because that thing will keep clicking on.
And I was gonna tell you too. I was diagnosed at I think age 5 or 6 with dyslexia. I had struggles reading, but a big way I found out was sports, soccer. With direction, I went the other way, scored. I thought I did well until I found out that
that's extreme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because you find out you have it doesn't mean they can fix it. You have to put the work in. Mm-hmm. Like I still read it probably a fourth grade level from 30. Well, first of all, let me go back to I'm gonna read a page every day. The only way I did that is I took those Post-it notes and I put it everywhere. Read today. It was on my nightstand, my mirror, my bathroom, on a glass door, my shower, it was on my refrigerator. It was probably in 20 different places. That reminded me, you're doing nothing right now? Read. And I'd sit down and I might forgot where I was, so I might read that last page or 2 pages. I'd get that next page in and might read another one. It took me almost a fucking year. But I did it. So, okay, that was a big goal for me. That really seemed overwhelming. But it taught me chunking, like breaking goals down into smaller goals. And I really didn't really start to learn how to read well, where I would read in front of people until I went out to LA and I was I lived there for 10 years, and there was a place called the Eris Learning Center in Culver City, which is only about 4 miles from my house, and an 85-year-old woman named Rose. She taught me, she would mix this stuff up, and I had to figure it out. She would do all these different exercises with me and give me something to take home, and I'd ask for more. And this is a kid who never did, when I was a kid, never did homework ever. I got people to do it for me. And now she's telling me I take home more homework than anyone she's ever known, because now I really want to learn. And, you know, like my first book, I wrote pieces of it, but it was all my stuff, you know, but I needed someone to put it still grammatically the way I needed it done. My last book, I literally wrote a lot of that.
And that's Positively Unstoppable, correct? The last
yes, that's this one right here. Yeah. And this one, The Art of Owning It is that 6-inch piece of real estate in between your ears. You know, it is the story you tell yourself. And for me, when it comes to life in general, and right now we just went through one of the hardest years in our country since the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. And Great Depression was way worse than this. World War II was way worse than this for people overseas. We were lucky that we got spared, you know, from that. But my point is that it was a really bad year. Yeah. And I kept my brain right where I wanted it to be. It turned into, you know, people that needed to work out at home. You know, so we helped a lot of people, you know, and our business continues to grow like crazy because what we have is authentic, you know, and people actually get reward out of it. We actually right now, for the when the book came out 2 years ago, we started the Positively Unstoppable $1 Million Challenge. And from last year, the contest goes from January 1st to October 31st. Now, you could come on January 1st, or you could come on March 3rd, or you can come on April 31st and still get 6 months. If you start in January and you fuck off for the first 2 months, you finally hit the March and you go, I'm doing this. Well, you take your pictures right then, and where you were, you get to use that. So this third place gets $5,000. Second place gets $10,000. First place has 100 books, 100 of these in the shelf.
Oh, wow.
One of them has $1 million. The rest all have 25,000. So 25K to take care of yourself. It's supposed to be 3 people. I could not pick 3 people because the 4 people that were the final that I made 4, because I figured I'm not going to split up third place. I'm going to throw another $5,000 in. That's my money. I'm throwing another $5,000 in because I can't choose, and I can't tell one of these people, like, you didn't work hard enough to be on the same stage as the others. The thing is, all 4 of them could have won, meaning they could have placed first just because of their physical transformation. The next place I go is mental. And that's where this comes in, because this is the blueprint for rebooting your brain, especially in these days that have been really dark. And a lot of people are sucking themselves down with emotional gravity. This book, it isn't just my stories. It's so many of the people that I've worked with and their stories and how they did it. So bottom line is, first level, transformation. Second level, mental transformation. Any one of them could have won because they all had great, amazing physical transformations and mental transformations. So now I got to go to the third level. How did you document it? Did you document yourself from day one? Did you film your workouts? Did you talk to the camera? Did you put yourself up on social media? You don't have to put yourself up on social media. A lot of people end up doing it. We have this site called DDP Yoga, one word. And DDP Yoga is written as 2 words, but it's just one word, DDP Yoga. And it's not my site. It is a member started it, and now there's 56,000 people there.
Wow.
That really help each other.
Yeah.
When people come there, they're like, how do I not know about this? Like, I started Fabulous Facebook Fridays because of that site. I started really paying attention to it about last year. I'm like, wow, these people are pretty amazing. But I was still so busy. But when COVID hit, it gave me more time to search the internet. So I'd go back there and I'd start reading one amazing, like, I can't believe this person put this up there. And it might have been a transformation or in the middle of one, or maybe it was day one. And they were so compelled to tell their story to this group of people. And then next thing you know, they've got 278, likes. And they've got 48 comments. You can do it. We're behind you, man. Put the work in. Like, it is unbelievable. And I created Fabulous Facebook Friday for my app that every Friday I put out another. It might be one story. It might be 5 short ones. But I'm directly reading what these people write. And then I'm giving my comments to them. Every Monday, we've got Motivational Monday on there. So on Friday, it's another really motivational thing. Tuesdays, we have our new workout. There's over 300 workouts. And I love it when people go, man, I can't do your workout. You'll kill me. That's the farthest thing from my mind. I created bed flex. First 3 workouts are working in bed. Chair force, sitting in a chair. I stand in a chair. And I just started these because going from sitting in a chair to standing up and working out is really hard for people. That's what I figured out. So now I have one where you're standing and you're sitting. You're standing and you're sitting. You're standing and you're sitting. You're building a strength that you don't need to sit anymore. Then it stands strong using the chair. And then it goes to beginner, the psycho. Like today I did what I call intermediate advanced. Intermediate positions, meaning like pretty much if you do the workout, you can do these positions. Or you can do level 1 of a position. But where it's kick-ass advanced is the conditioning. Like you can stay in plank and lower to your knees while we do 3 or 5 5-second push-ups. 5 down, 5 hold, 5 up. You don't have to do that. You can stay in a knee and shake. And then finally we go down and up and I rest you. And we're off again. At any point in time, you can hit pause.
I like that.
So, you know.
So I'm newer to DDPY, and first of all, I love the app. I love the program, and I just did Energy 2.0, which I really enjoy. And I love that you say you can make this workout your own, make DDPY your own, because you don't always hear that in workout sessions. You know, there's just one way to do it. But I like that. I mean, there's just one way to do it, but I like that because you just had mentioned how people may count themselves out because they feel it's too hard. But you're like, no, you know, make it your own. Also, if you feel your heart rate jacked, it's okay to pause. It's okay to take a time out. When do you ever get to do that in a lot of sessions where you can just like, you know what, other than a water break, get to just stop for a second and reset?
Yeah, I mean, I tell, especially what I did today. I'm like, hey, hit pause, you know? And I get to the end of it, I go, if you didn't get to the end and you had to hit pause, fine, know where you stop. It was like an hour workout. So if you stopped at 38 minutes, self high five, brother, you know, like you made it that far, or you made it all, you finally made it all the way through, but you had a bunch of times you lowered to your knee or you stepped in, great. When you get to that next part where you don't have to lower to your knee, do you know the kind of confidence that gives people? Like, it's a different world, man. Like the girl who won, well, first of all, a guy who came in 3rd place, his name's Justin Dobbins. You might have seen the video. He's 6'7".
Yeah.
He was 698 pounds. 698 pounds. Wow. The first year, he walked short periods and changed what he ate. When I say diet, I mean what he's eating diet. What's your diet? And he completely turned his life around how he ate. He ate for health as opposed to ate for taste. And really, he's eating for life because he's going to die real soon, you know? And he didn't want, I used to have that same Tervis bottle.
Oh, yeah.
Batman. The Batman.
How to represent Batman there, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get it. But when his body was so beat up that by the time he hit 524 pounds, he just couldn't walk anymore. So he thought, let me give this DDP yoga a shot. And the bottom line is, he would go on to lose. He was in the contest, but he didn't do much filming, you know, because he was just, when I actually saw him, because I go on that site and read stuff. I saw a video of him saying, listen, this is who I am. This is what I've done. I'm not here to win any money. I'm not here to try to win this contest. I am here to own my life. And I'm here for I'm hoping I can inspire you guys to, you know, to put the work in, and I'm here for the accountability. Well, he came in 3rd place only because he didn't document his shit, because that cat lost 401 pounds in 22 months.
That's incredible.
Crazy. And I know people probably think he got the stomach surgery. He never did. So it's really about, you know, it's the story you tell yourself. That's what Positively Unstoppable was. The bottom line, him and a guy named Scotty Boots Jorgensen, he lost 95. Over that 6-month period, Justin lost like 83 pounds, I think. Over that 6-month period for Scotty, he lost 95 pounds. And he went from like a big cat to friggin' unbelievable shape. Like, I couldn't believe it. He might have won if he documented that whole damn story. This girl, Caitlin, came in 2nd, and she did a lot of documentation. She looked great. She was in the contest year before. and she lost like 32 pounds. This time, I think she lost like 76 pounds or something. But the girl who won, her name is Candy McCarthy Herndon. And she videoed herself. She started on the last day, April 30th. This was, she has 6 months moving forward. None of these people are trying to win a contest. Doing it, try to inspire. And what ended up happening is she's got that open video footage where she's just in catcher and she's trying to get her arm down and trying to do like just that. You can see she's got that Hashimoto's disease and, told she's never going to lose weight. She's like 240 pounds or whatever it is. And she's just so, and the picture right next to her is her holding her foot over her head.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
6 months later. We show that later when we put them together. Like the video is powerful. And she had no self-worth. Her mother left her at the beach as a kid and forgot her. And she went to go get drugs. Wow. And, later she told her that when she was 9 that she was it's really crazy. It's good. I'm glad you turned out okay because I was shooting heroin when you were in my stomach.
Damn.
What's your self-worth going to be if your mother tells you something like that? Like you just feel like a total worthless piece of shit. Mm. But today, this girl, oh man, she's amazing. She now, and she even gave back. Like she did a contest for 3 people. She's going to pay their app for a year. She was going to pay for it, and she did a contest to help 3 people get on the app who really wanted it that couldn't afford it. So super cool giving back.
Well, I think what's so amazing with DDPY, and of course the most notable famous case is with Arthur Borman, disabled veteran, and what he's able to do now. And I've seen him in some of your videos there on the app, and even Vance Hine. And you talk about documenting, and that going from over 400 down to 277 to. That's remarkable, and it's just that it looks like I'll stay in the course. Just talk about that.
278 right now. Dude, right now he's fucking 220.
Wow.
I mean, down to the first year he lost 198 pounds. The second year he wasn't dialed in on losing weight. He was dialed in on running half triathlons. Mm-hmm. Where you swim a mile and a quarter. Then you get out and you ride your bicycle 66 miles. Then you run 13.4 or 0.1, 13 and a quarter miles. Because I think a marathon is 26 and a half miles. Whatever the half is, 13 miles. At the end of that, at 270, 260, 280, because he fluctuated because he had to eat to really have the energy to be able to do that shit. And for years, weight just it centered around that number. And then he said, okay, I'm done with that shit. I got 20 medals. I don't need it anymore. And then he started working on the program and really dialed in on really getting healthy. And last week he weighed in at 220.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can do it. Stay in that course and just having that drive.
All about discipline.
Yeah.
All about discipline and having a group. Have you ever gone to that Facebook group?
I have not, but I will.
Yeah, it's going to freak you out.
Yeah. I like a good freak out, a good positive freak out.
Yeah, it's, like I would tell somebody who I'm, I've gotten to know, this guy JD, he's a biker, 524 pounds. He's friends with Garrett Bischoff. That's how I know him. And they got this biker group, and they're bikers. They're legit bikers. But these bikers, like when kids get taken away from their parents because they've been beat up one too many times, and they're scared, those kids. They're scared their mother or father are going to find them and beat the fuck out of them. You got 2 of those bikers from that biker gang. They sit out there day, tag off, the wood comes in for night, afternoons. Boys it's just something they do. And that I can see Garrett Bischoff being involved with a group of guys like that. But JD is 524 pounds. He wasn't going to last much longer.
Yeah.
And when he first started, I said, you should put that video up on that page, bro, see what happens. He was shocked. The overwhelming positive response that he got. He was shocked. And now he'll put, every couple of weeks he'll put a different post up there, or, it just helps everybody to stay accountable. And that's what the Positively Unstoppable Challenge is all about. Anybody who wants, if you're watching, it ain't about losing 200 pounds. It might be about losing 40 pounds, or just getting, my back is killing me, and giving me that, that group of people who are working in, that like-mindedness, and it don't cost anything to do it.
Yeah.
Go to positivelyunstoppable.com and sign up.
Well, I think we need more of that positivity, especially on, social media. I mean, social media could be a blessing and a curse, and sometimes it feels a lot more like a curse just based on the trolls and what people say. But the fact to have a group that's so supportive, which I feel any kind of fitness community has been for the longest time. I come from a martial arts background, and I mean, the positive energy in that environment is so great.
Well, the respect too. That's what I love about martial arts, is that they're all super respectful to each other, because that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge part of that group of people.
Well, and my trainer I work with, Sean Spencer, he fought in the UFC. He actually introduced me to yoga because he got involved with it and how it benefited him. And I could tell you now, I feel so much better. I have years of neck issues and even hip issues just from wrestling and karate and that. And I just feel so great. But now I'm really enjoying DDPY, and I'm going to do an exercise workout today after here. So anyone that you suggest to dive right in, or?
Yeah, I think that I have a beginner spot. If it's just people who are, that aren't limited in mobility, then you start where a beginner. And the first thing, I might do is a diamond dozen, which shows you the move. Like, do it, watch it, do it. Watch it, do it. And then when it's done, when you get energy, you're going to say, wow, I already know all these moves. So it makes it easy. Then it goes, and then as we move on, I introduce new things or different techniques to the same thing. I mean, there's over 300 workouts on there, and I'll guarantee you that really none of them are the same.
Yeah.
Because there's always something different that you can do, and there's always some place you can go as they get more challenging. It's not like, oh God, I can do all this shit. Like, no, you can't. Like 100% of the people watching your shit right now can't hang with the 65-year-old guy. Can't, because you got to be a warrior to do the shit I do. And that, again, goes back to my goal of, being in the same spot. The only way, and God is my co-pilot when it comes to driving, but bar of having an accident, I'm going to be in the same spot, Well,
once again, it's that self-progression that, you're leading this, but you're still progressing. You're still improving as well. Have you always had this self-discipline and positivity, or when did that all begin for you?
I think about work ethic. It wasn't as a little kid, because I was gifted in like football, because I was bigger and aggressive, and it just came naturally to me. It wasn't techniques. It wasn't stunt the inside. It was just pure, raw little kid, I guess probably aggression more than anything. And couldn't read, I was bounced around like a pinball as a kid. I'm sure I had all those issues. But football was something I was really good at. My brain, when I was 12 years old, I literally thought I'd be playing defensive end for the Cowboys or the Giants or the Jets growing up in New Jersey. And And then I got hit by a car.
Oh, wow.
And
I did not know
it hit my left knee, my face bounced off the hood, and I flew 42 feet from point of impact. And all of a sudden, 1968, there was no rehab, like not for regular people, especially young kids. You know, today, everybody's got rehab, you know, no matter where you go. Now, do they continue it? They get you to where you need to be, and then you got to figure out the rest. That's where I come in. So many times, it's ridiculous. From shoulder replacement, shoulder rotator cuff surgery, hip, knee, meniscus, ACL. You only go so far unless you're a high-end athlete for a college or pro. Then it's a different animal. But for regular people, you're fucked. That's where I come in. But I kind of figured out how to friggin' heal myself at a very young age, and they wouldn't let me play football anymore. So mentally, I was crushed. And I the only two sports they would let me play, the doctors, because they would sign off on them, was basketball and baseball. I sucked at both of them. And baseball is something you have to have at least one other person to throw a ball, you know?
Yeah.
Not just to throw a ball or hit a ball to you. Basketball, you can do all by yourself. And that could be from, you know, dribbling drills, layups, hooks, foul shot, jumpers. I mean, you can do a lot of shit all by yourself. And in the beginning, I didn't make the team in 7th grade, but I didn't care. I hated basketball. I was going out because my buddies were. And 8th grade, I made the team because I was tall, but I sat on the bench. And that was the summer where I learned that work ethic equals results. And I learned that if I play 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day, every day, I'm going to get better and better. And then I'm not going to be the last guy picked. And before you know it, I was picking the teams. And for a white boy that couldn't jump that high, because I didn't, the knees and never having the understanding of how to get a vertical jump. But still, you know, in my senior year, I averaged 17 points and 13 rebounds. And when I finally ended up at a junior college, because I went to a college that was non-accredited first, that's how I kept playing, and, you know, and cheating my ass off because I couldn't read. But it makes you really adaptable being dyslexic. And I think you'll agree with me on that.
Yeah.
You figure shit out if you want it. But in junior college, I averaged 22 points and 13 rebounds. Like I had friggin' Coastal Carolina. I had friggin' a 3-quarter ride with them. They didn't give out full scholarships, but the rest of it I could work off. But I just hated being down there. I lasted like 2 weeks and I went home because I was in the bar business, and, you know, I would never have been able to fake my way through that college. But the bottom line is I got there because of my athletic prowess, you know, and that was my, that taught me, that's where I really started to learn that work ethic equals results. But inside my Hall of Fame ring with WWE, it says work ethic equals dreams, exclamation point, DDP. And what I ended up doing, like when I was a wrestler, you know, I started to become a wrestler at 35. No, people fell down laughing, you know, like they never would believe that was going to happen. And it just made me work harder because I was that guy who didn't get picked when I was in 8th grade, you know, and then all of a sudden I was picking the teams, you know, so I realized I'm going back to that psychology. And going down to the power plant, I was the first to come. I was the last to leave. No one believed in me that first 3 months. But around that three-month mark, Jody Hamilton pulled me aside. He drew a lot of money for a lot of years, him and his brother, and they were a masked tag team. And he was the assassin. And he said, Diamond, the only reason that I'm saying this is because you got the best work ethic I have ever seen. He goes, if you can keep this up, you might just pull this shit off. And basically, I ran in, so many different people and said the same thing to me as my career would go on. Like Dusty loved me. I worked for him in Florida Championship Wrestling before I got the WCW. But he saw me as a character on TV. He saw me as a personality. He saw me as a producer, as a writer. He saw me with a creativity level. He didn't see the wrestling side. And then they took managing away from me because of the hair and the clothes and the bling and the rap and the dolls. Basically, I said to Magnum, are you telling me I'm too over the top for professional fucking wrestling? And he basically said, gee, it's not your fault. What we should have done was put a pair of tights and boots on you and see if you can do it. He kind of laughed, but you're 35, you're way too late. And I had 7 months left of my contract. I just made a decision. I was going to learn how to not just wrestle, I was going to learn how to be good enough in that ring to be able to tell stories, because the color commentating was what I thought my history was going to be. Because I was doing color commentating and managing when I was never a wrestler, just because I was a personality and I could talk. But when they heard the Freebirds, these guys were right here behind me, someone did a really cool drawing. It looks just like the picture. I have the other picture over there. And those guys, I was managing them when I came to WCW. Michael P.S. Hayes really loved me. And I met him earlier in my career and we exchanged numbers. We were very much alike, completely different, but our characters were very much alike. And normally a top guy like that would be threatened by a guy like that. But Michael had so much confidence in himself that he wasn't. And I always felt the same way about anybody. I would help so many people get jobs up there. But I just heard that I'm not going to be able to manage guys anymore. Mm-hmm. And man, it was like I flipped in my brain. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I got 7 months left on my contract. I'm going to go down that power plant. I'm going to learn how to wrestle. So I'm not bummed out at the moment. I am faced with an adversity. How do I react to the adversity? So right away, I just flipped. This is why it's happening. This is my calling. And Michael and Jimmy were walking up, and normally they'd always be busting my balls and ribbing me and having fun. That's just the way they were, And they weren't like that. They actually were solemn. They were empathetic. They knew it was a really big deal to me that now all of a sudden I'm going to lose that spot, and there's nowhere else to go. And they both came up with, hey, bro, we heard, sorry, but that's the business, blah, blah, blah. And I said, dude, it's cool. I got 7 months left of my contract. I said, I know exactly what the fuck I'm going to do. I said, I'm going to learn how to wrestle. And they looked at each other and just went, Michael fell down. They burst out laughing. Like they were crying, laughing, because Hayes was younger than me. I think at the time Hayes was 32. Hayes had been wrestling since he was 15. Jimmy Garvin, same thing. So, and Jimmy, I think, was a year older than me. So we were all around the same age, and now I'm telling them I'm going to wrestle at 35. It was the most absurd thing they ever heard. And while they were laughing, I gave them both the finger and walked to the rings. I'll see you out there. So that was in 1991. In 1996, by this time, Hayes is up in WWE and has been there for the last close to 20 years of being, one of the top writers there. And I ain't talked to him at that point, 96. Probably in about 2 years. And I had a match with Sting on Monday night. And it was January of 96. In 95, I was given the PWI award, Most Improved Wrestler of the Year. If you look at the guys on that list, they're pretty impressive. the guys who were given that award. Nash, Hall, there's a lot of guys. I'm running home. I just did TV. I just flew in. I'm going to the gym. I forgot something at home, so I run in the house. I'm running out the house. I hear the phone go off, and then I hear the message machine go off. And I hear, Page, PS. And he starts talking. And I ran to the phone, and I picked it up like, Michael, hey, bro, what's up? He said, God damn, motherfucker, son. I go, Mike, you all right? God, Page. You know how sometimes you try to call somebody because you don't want them to pick up the phone. You want to leave a message. I said, yeah. He said, you want me to hang up so you can leave a message? No, fuck it. Answer the phone. He said, Paige, I've never been so happy to eat crow in all my life. He said, son, we all saw your match up here. Everybody's seen that match you had with Stinger. Wow, you proved me wrong, dude. I'm proud of you. Click. For him to say that, that was a really big deal. And it gave me another level of confidence. Mm-hmm. And then by the time 1997 came around, there was nobody could tell me anything that I couldn't do.
Rocking and rolling, man.
I was killing. And in January of 97, I get a call from Jake. And I hadn't talked to Jake in about a year at that time. He said one word. When I picked up the phone, he went, congratulations. I was like, Jake? Yeah. Congratulations for what? Reinventing the DDT. The diamond cutter was the most explosive move of the 90s. And since Randy Orton helped take it to the next level as well, it is still, Frankie Kazarian, guys who have taken that move. Cody does a running hit, jumps back, and Cody, it's like, that started here.
Yeah.
I created the instantaneousness that everybody does today.
I've always loved it. I've always been a big fan of it because it's so explosive and quick. I mean, when you hit Scott Hall with it, when NWO wanted you to join, and just the pop from the crowd. But how about moving forward? And you've told the story before, Macho Man, that win, that cutter, then, and just the crowd, the electricity in that. I believe he was setting you up for a suplex and you reverse it. I believe right into the diamond cutter. Yeah, it was
Matt. Of course, that's Macho saying, but if we had shot our angle and then we toured everywhere, we were the main event. And every night, DDP got left laying by the NWO. I think 3 or 4 nights I might have hit a couple diamond cutters, not on Randy, but on other NWO members before escaping. Well, most nights I got my ass beat and people were throwing shit like they were pissed off. And that's how the show ended, and somebody carried me back, the weekend, the Friday before that pay-per-view, we were in the locker room and Arn Anderson, I love Arn, great guy, but we've had our battles, at times. And there was a point in time where he basically told me when he was on the booking committee that I was never going to be a top guy. Mm. And he said, because, unless Randy, Hulk, Flair, Sting, Luger, unless one of those guys put you over, you're never going to be seen as a top guy. He said, and none of those guys are ever going to put you over. And it was much more tension than that. But, we're all brothers. I mean, like I say, I love Arn Anderson. There's moments, though, and I'm sure he felt the same way about me. But that night, Arn's the agent. And Arn came in the locker room, just me and Randy there, and he's like, so, Randy, what do you want to do tonight? It's not like he's going to ask me that. I mean, I'm not there yet. But this is Randy's show.
Yeah.
And Randy looked up and went, I think I want to take the diamond cutter. And he went right back to putting his boots on. And Arn looked at me, and I looked at Arn, and he went, well, Diamond, I hope you know what this could do for your career. I'm like, yep, Arn, I do. Arn would later apologize for that, by the way, and say, I was out of line. I should give credit to who he really is. He's a great human being. He's one of the best promos ever. Mm-hmm. Arn Anderson should have been a world champion. Yeah. Because that guy had it all. And he was believable as fuck. Yeah. But the moment at that time, I just looked at it, yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. And we went out there, and it was one of those places that wasn't, the big arena that held 22,000 people. Mm-hmm. We weren't there yet. Yeah. It was just starting to happen because we were so hot. Now they're pulling out of the small places and going to the big joints, which would actually become, some places you could change dates, but for the big shows, we were in the big arenas. Like Monday night, there wasn't a Thursday night yet, but pay-per-views, and we were all big buildings then. But for house shows, we still might be doing a 10,000 seat, like hockey, like local, professional hockey. And that was that place. And they had to turn away thousands of people. Wow. And it was packed as it could be. And it was hot. I remember it was so hot. Like the air, you could cut it with a knife. It was so hot in there. And we went out there and had a couple of spots, and Randy basically beat the fuck out of me.
It was a wild match. I mean, it was a crazy match.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the night, the Friday before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but we went back and forth in that shit. And he worked me up. But that night, he would play the heel. Randy Savage at this point in his career is not a heel. Mm. Like he's if anything, he is a what do they call that? A tweener, where certain people hate him, but so many people loved him because of just his illustrious career.
Kind of like John Cena for a little bit. John Cena, a lot of fans love him, and some will.
Yeah, but he never turned heel.
Yeah.
Randy turned heel, and hard to keep that heat. But because I was so over as a babyface in '97, forget about it. Yeah. If they would have let me beat Hulk instead of Goldberg, we could have kept that run going. We might, because it would have taken me to another level. Or let me beat Goldberg, in Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, that was a good match, by the way.
And a great match. And he, it would have elevated him too, because I would have dropped the strap right back to him because he's Goldberg. But we would have got that loss out of the way, and it would have been clean and everybody would have believed it. But back to that night, I finally blow a comeback and Randy just shuts me down and he goes, diamond cutter. And when he picked me up, I dropped behind him, spun him, hit him, and we laid there. And when I hit him, the roof blew off. And then the mulling of the this place where you could bang on the stairs and they would make that wood sound like they do in high schools. Yeah. It was so fucking loud. And I waited there. And I waited. And I just laid my arm across him. It's because he could have done 1, 2, and kicked out, but he didn't. And the place went batshit crazy. And at that point, he said, well, I think we know what we're doing for Spring Stampede. and I never thought that was going to happen, that I was going to beat him. Yeah. He made that decision. And we were the feud of the year. We beat Bret Hart and fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know, we were the feud that was bigger than them in 97. And that was Randy's genius of like, we bring this fucker up,
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
incredible.
And it was never lost on me ever, because Rand, you know, that was those moments, you know, it wasn't one person that helped me, it was many. And if you want to see a great Hall of Fame speech, you know, go to 2017 WWE Hall of Fame. Bischoff gave me an unbelievable introduction, and then from there I came out and killed it. You know, I have to thank everybody. You know.
Well, going back to your, are you managing days? Are you glad that you were a manager first before an active pro wrestler, or if you had to do it again?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do a damn thing different, because, you know, look at the run. You know, I mean, look what happened. So to me, it was magic, because it's really the reason why DDPY is as strong as it is today is because of what I did then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've seen Relentless, right?
Yes, yeah, I was actually about to bring that up, and there's even a clip where you talk about being a promo that you did where you talk about being an anomaly, and I think that just speaks volumes.
Yeah, and it was Lee Marshall who said he is an anomaly, and I brought that up in my Hall of Fame speech. I said, "What is an anomaly?" And then I went, according to Star Trek. I said, an anomaly is something that was never supposed to happen. And I said that, and the thing, I'm an anomaly. What is an anomaly? An anomaly is something that wasn't supposed to happen. And the next words out of my mouth, but I happened to you, Randy Savage. You know, and I just kept going. You know, it was fun. You know, it was so much fun working with him, cutting promos. I want to talk about Relentless before we go, because I got to get going.
Yeah.
But so, what did you think of Relentless?
I loved it, and well, just mentioned that I'm, you know, going back again with Arthur Borman. I mean, someone told that he wouldn't be able to walk again, and we got to see that in this film, and just everybody that you're able to interact with and help. And even I love the part where you go into UVA and they're just so excited to see you, that energy, but also just showing you how you're building this brand and this company, and that it wasn't always easy. So what are some advice for, you know, I feel like today you've seen so many entrepreneurs. What is your advice to an entrepreneur coming up? And was there anything in your past when you're a nightclub manager that you kind of took with you coming into managing? Everything.
Every victory, every failure. You know, the biggest thing I talk about in Relentless is that you can't thank God for just the great things that happen to you. You got to thank God for, you know, the failures, the sweeping the rug out from under you. Example, we just talked about it. Here I am managing Freebirds and Scott Hall, who is the Diamond Stud. We can't let you do that anymore. You're too, you know, you're too much. You're too over the top as a manager, taking too much attention away from the wrestlers. So now I can't do it, and there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. I could have taken my 7 months and sat home and did color commentating, and, you know, some guy retires and who could talk, and they take my spot, and I'm done, and the dream is over. But that's not who I am. I got 7 months left on my contract. I'm going to learn how to wrestle. And what looked like the worst thing that ever happened to me at the moment, I decided it was going to be the best. When I blow my back out and they tell me my wrestling career is over, that's where DDPY comes from. Necessity. I'm the guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga the first 42 years of my life. But I just signed a multi-million-dollar 3-year deal, and it's going to go bye-bye if I don't readjust, punt, and figure out my attack from there.
Mm-hmm.
And my attack was to bet on me. Like, there was a tattoo right here under that black cat, and there was a tattoo under the 8 ball. They were both stars with lightning bolts through them. When I was 37, I got let go. At 35 and a half, I started wrestling. At 36 and a half, I tore my rotator cuff, and they let me go. That's when Jake Roberts, who was already in my life, but he really came into my life there, moved in with me, stayed with me for 3 months, and then he lost a 12-foot black cobra in my house. He had to go. My wife was like, he's got to go, but it never lost contact with him, and would end up going to his house. He'd watch my tapes. I'd be on the road with him. And for those years, I friggin' worked my craft. And then I came back at 37, but nobody believed in the 37-year-old pseudo rookie. So Dusty used me, and then he got put out the pasture. And my push went stage left. And okay, what am I going to do? I'll go back down to power plant, teach those young guys. There's something I've learned from basketball as a kid. The more you teach people shit, the more you learn. The more you learn, the better you'll get. So taking the negative things that happen in your life and figure out how to make them work for you. As far as entrepreneurs, everybody's an entrepreneur today. Kind of makes me laugh a little bit. But I love it because really your only way you're going to control your destiny is by doing your own business, creating your own self-worth. I'm going to come back to this. I started to say this. This tattoo here is the dead man's hand. Wild Bill Hickok got shot with that. It's flaming dice, gambling. People are afraid of the black cat. They think it's bad luck. 13 is an unlucky number for many people. All of that is gambling to me. On this side, I live behind, it's a wildcat, and he lives right behind this 8 ball. So many times in my life, I've been right behind that 8 ball, not knowing how to read, not being understood. This over here, martini glass. I grew up in the nightclub business. This guy's got his arm over here, is this arm right here. The only original tattoo I have still is this star right there. And he's got one too. And he's got a cigar in his mouth and $1 in his eye and a blackjack in his hat. I was a crazy gambler as a kid. And when I really decided to make the change and stop going in 5 directions and go in 1, I put these tattoos on me. And if you go back to 1993, show me somebody whose tattoos were this big. Unless they had a sleeve, show me somebody. Now, Rodman, he might have put one on his head by that time, one over here, but he didn't start the sleeves and shit. And I'm not saying I gave him that idea, but it's sort of like a cultural thing. Allen Iverson, by 1994, 95, he was getting covered, but wasn't 93. And that little, people steal shit from wrestling all day long. We are pop culture. But for me, this to
Goldberg's
me was
tattoo, the tribal band. A lot more people.
Yeah, but I just mean big pieces.
Oh yeah, big pieces.
That's just a regular piece anybody could have had.
Yeah.
But my point is that these tattoos to me mean I'm not gambling on anyone else but myself. So when you ask me about entrepreneurs and advice, gamble on yourself. Have the balls to put it all on the line. Don't do something you don't love. Like love. Like people see, they thought back in the early days when I was doing, yoga for regular guys, and it became YRG, then it went to DDP yoga. It's always will be DDP yoga. And right now it's DDP Live Fitness. And it's fitness so you understand what it is. And then what's DDPY stand for? Diamond Dallas Page's Yoga. Okay, tell me what P90X stands for. No one knows.
Yeah.
I'll
be honest, I don't.
No.
Yeah.
They know it's extreme and 90 what, I don't know. But if you know the workout, you know it's 90 minutes. But
yeah.
Unless you do it, no one knows.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to know what DDPY means.
Yeah.
And yoga, my form for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga, that's why I changed the name, but it's still a piece of yoga. Yoga's been here for 5,000 years. Yeah. This isn't P90X, Taibo, insanity. This is a lifestyle. If I die tonight, if I die 5 minutes from now and this show's over, it would grow to such an intensity, it would be mind-boggling. Because I know the life I've lived. I know the legacy I'm leaving. I don't take it all that seriously, but I know. And I know what I've done. And I know what I've left behind. Mm. And I don't plan on going anywhere. But whatever that day is, God decides to say, okay, dude, you're done here. I got something else for you to do that's way bigger than this. Then I'm out of here. And when I do, it's going to be here forever. Mm-hmm. The team that I have with me, the people that I put in positions, because once you get to 65, I still feel like I'm totally positively unstoppable. But I know what reality is. And I'm not afraid to die. I'm just not. Because I know that if I ain't got good karma, everybody's fucked. If I don't have good karma, because when I say if you don't love it, don't do it as an entrepreneur. Like for wrestling, those first 3.5 years, it cost me money to be Diamond Dallas Page. Mm-hmm. And then I finally made a little bit of money and gave me a contract that got me a house. And that could have been it if I didn't keep striving to go to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. So it took 8 years to be an overnight success as a wrestler. 8 years. But when I hit 8 years, I was one of the biggest names in the world. It was like being one of the Beatles. Mm-hmm. It was 1997 was insane for me. So was 98, 99, but 97 was insane. It wasn't 15 minutes. It was fucking 15 lifetimes. Wow. Because today, right now I have 12 cameos. Fucking God. They pay $100. And they think they're getting 45 seconds to a minute. They don't know that I'm going to talk from 5 to 15. Because I'm going to tell them, it depends on who they are. Are they just here because they're looking for a pep talk? Or were they a wrestling fan and DDPY fan? Or are they just a wrestling fan? No matter what it is, I'm going to change their life with a cameo. All you have to do is read the reviews. They're like the reviews for Relentless. They're mind-boggling. Very few people write, this was a great documentary. I recommend it. They write paragraphs.
I highly recommend it. I mean, I highly recommend it. I think it's definitely a film most need to see, and just to see not just your journey, but Arthur's journey, everyone involved. And I love that how broad it's gone, and even with seeing Gabriel Iglesias and Corey Taylor, all the I love the whole. That's one thing that I love a lot about DDP. You can Hulk it up.
Hulk it up.
Hulk it up.
Yeah. But think about just doing this.
Yeah.
And doing this feels good. Mm-hmm. Like you do my workout, one of them, you're going to feel better afterwards. I don't give a fuck. I know for a fact you're going to feel better. Mm. You're going to feel energized. Because when you're rushing blood like that through your body, it kind of oxidizes your blood. and it gives you energy. And I saw a doctor talking about that when I was 21 years old. I was in San Francisco. He was a Fu Manchu, long hair, fringe, fucking, like right out of the 60s, man. But this was the 70s. And he was a dude. And he was talking about, he was a doctor. He was talking about the benefits of stretching. With DDPY, we're not just stretching. We're stretching and strengthening muscles, ligaments, and tendons. That's why after sitting on his chair with you for an hour, I can stand back here and grab either one of my feet, and I'll use this one right here, and take my foot and have a conversation with you. At 6'4", 226 pounds, and going to be 65 years young. Again,
That's awesome.
I'm going to do that when I'm 66, 7, 8, 9, 70, 71, 2, 5, 9. You know, I'm going to be able to do it in my 80s. At some point in time, WWE is going to have to, you know, at some point, come up with a DDP, you know, humanitarian award. You know,
That'd be really cool.
I mean, because they've got them in all other sports, and you know, the only other guy who I think is an unbelievable humanitarian. There's a lot of guys who do a lot of stuff, but Titus O'Neil, he does a lot of stuff. You know, he does a lot of stuff to help people. So I'm a big Titus O'Neil fan. But you know, Titus didn't have my run. You know what I mean? But he's a great guy and a great human being. I love what he does. He does, you know, he took like, I want to say he took 2,000 kids to the underprivileged, you know, kids to the Black Panther video, awesome. And it buses together. Yeah, he's just done some really, and he's consistent all the time. He's a guy, if he got it, I'd be like, okay. But, you know, it might not happen for another decade, you know, but it's kind of like, I knew at some point they had to put me in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, I knew they had to put me in the Hall of Fame at some point. And you know what? When people would say, well, aren't you irritated about, like, hey, dude, until Jake Roberts gets in, until Randy Savage gets in, you think I'm going to say shit? Till Michael P.S. Hayes gets in, you know, till those three cats are in, I got no problem. You know, whenever it happens, it'll happen. It'll be amazing. And it was. It was my favorite moments in professional wrestling because it was all of my career.
Yeah. Well, and just two final things. And once again, I want to thank you for, you know, taking your time here today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. It's been very enlightening, and I hope when people watch this, it is for them as well. I know you mentioned earlier about Dallas Cowboys. Are you still a Dallas Cowboys fan? Do you still follow them?
Yeah, I do. Not as I'm more like about players today.
Yeah. Who's the favorite player of yours right now?
Oh, you kidding me? Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
I'm also a Mahomes fan. I mean, that kid is he is so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
You know, that underhand shit he does.
It's just that flicker. It's so high risk, but it's good.
Dude, I am waiting for him to be running fucking around right side and whip that fucker behind his back to the guy on the other side of the fucker. I'm just waiting for that fucking behind the back pass. And if anybody can do it, it's him. But he's so much fun to watch. If Brady doesn't win, oh, you know what? It's called the passing of the gold boots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that is the heir apparent to the throne. The kid's unbelievable, man. But Brady, I'm such a big fan of just who he is as a human being. Like, he gets a lot of heat because he's good looking and he's got a gorgeous wife. But that fucker, I mean, he is one of the hardest workers ever. LeBron James, like, those two guys are just work ethic on steroids without the steroids. You know, so I really I'm so happy that Tom got to wear. I mean, who the hell is in 10 Super Bowls, bro? 10.
19
You
years
know,
ago was his very first appearance against
you know,
the Rams.
he said something the other day, and he said, you know, it's never been done before. You know, that a team is actually, you know, it's been done that they've gone 3 you know, on the road wins. You know, that's been done before, but only 4 times in 55 years. But it's never been done where now they're ending up in their hometown
Yeah.
with a Super Bowl. Like, they don't have to get on the road. They don't have to do anything they don't already do. And for Tom to make that move, knowing he didn't have the weapons, you know, the defense, so too, it reminds me, Derek Brooks is a buddy of mine. And, you know, it reminds me of that team that they had in their defense. Because if those, it all depends who's not hurt rolling into that game, too.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I just want it to be a great game. You know, it would be amazing for Brady to do it one last time, but you can't even say that about him because you don't know, because they've got a great team and they're all coming back next year.
And he's got at least one more year on his contract. I know it was a 2-year. So
he wants to play till he's 45. So, you know, we'll see. But let's see what happens this year. And if you're anything, you count that. They counted that motherfucker out when Atlanta was smoking them. And then what happened?
Yeah,
if that didn't make you a believer, you know, there's just certain guys that have that
comeback,
insane competitive nature. Now, Mahomes, same cat.
Yeah.
Same cat, way younger, way more mobile, and just like I say, to me, he's the most fun football player to watch, you know, in that position. There's been some great guys, but he's just fun. And he's a kid. Yeah. He's just having fun. You know, he's having fun. He's out there to win, but he's having fun.
Well, you know, the Bears are kicking. Oh, go ahead.
So say again?
I was going to say, you know, the Bears are probably kicking themselves a little bit because they had an opportunity to draft. They passed him in the draft. But, hey, you sometimes you just don't know. And, like, Brady was 198, I think, in the draft.
Yep. The draft is significant, but a lot of times those guys come in with such pressure on them, you know, and maybe they leave school early.
Yeah.
The one thing about this kid from Clemson coming in, he didn't leave. Like, he could have left as a freshman. Yeah. But he didn't. He stayed there and got seasoned, you know, and he won his championship. You know, he went exactly the way he would have wanted to. Love have gone out that way, but this kid's going to be brought in, and he's really got it. It's what's crazy was this year, you know, both of those kids were from right here in Georgia. Like, both of them were like 10 miles from me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I watched, there's a great, on Netflix, there's a great show called QB1. If you're a football fan, you got to go and watch it, because one year they had Jake Fromm. The other year, I can't remember, it was somebody. And this last year, Justin Fields.
Oh, Justin Fields. Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Justin Fields was one of the guys that they were following, and he was going to Georgia. And he left Georgia and moved over, you know. So that was a really big deal. I love watching the inside, but we all talked about both of those guys in high school. Like, they're not just going to play Saturdays; they're going to play Sundays. You know, these Friday Night Light kids, because they lit it up here in Georgia. So I'm really looking for a fun.
Me too.
The stories about, you know, I mean, the NFL and who's ever in ESPN, who's ever broadcasting it, just, they're so happy they could scream, because they've got a huge story now. Fucking the killer veteran against the young kid who's just as good or better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? he just hadn't had the time in yet. So it's like one of those things that I may have taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything I know. So hopefully we'll get to see a really good combat there.
I'm just wondering what's going to happen with. I was also thinking it was going to be Super Bowl I all over again, Chiefs, possibly Packers. I wonder what's going to happen next with Aaron Rodgers, if he's going to stay longer with the Packers or if he's going to make another move. Because he still has, I mean, I think he's 37. He still has it. It's just there's some of those pieces just haven't clicked when they needed to.
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because he's such a great talent. And you never realize how much smaller he is. Mm-hmm. Until he stood next to someone like Brady.
Yeah.
You know, and then you realize, man, that guy's like 5'11", you know, so it makes him even tougher. But, you know, they considered him the best. You know, like he was MVP. I listen to him talk, him and Mahomes. And I think, you know, that could have been maybe a better Super Bowl. I don't know, but not the way they played. I mean, they gave him the game.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of interceptions out there, you know. Defenses were strong. So, you know, it's going to be fun. Yeah. I'll bet you it's one of the most watched Super Bowls maybe ever. You know, maybe ever. It's going to be fun.
And there's going to be first responders too in the crowd, which I think is good. Or frontline workers are going to be there along.
Right.
So that's going to be cool to see as well. And also, real quick, Josh Allen. I mean, hats off to him. What a great season! And I think Mahomes, Allen are going to be the future.
Oh yeah, that guy's awesome. And I was just so thankful that Buffalo got back. So I was good buddies with Jim Kelly, and you know Buffalo has taken some real tough knocks, you know, over the years. But man, that son of a bitch got to the Super Bowl finals 4 times, whether he won or not. How many people can say they were there? Period. There's still a lot of quarterbacks, like freaking guys who were great, like Danny Marino.
Yeah.
Never saw that. You know what I mean? So, you know, they're just thankful to have been there for the watching this, watch Relentless. Appreciate it on Amazon Prime. You have to go to actually Amazon. Got to go to Amazon where you buy something, and then it'll be interesting to see if they let you put up a review, because Amazon, they are motherfuckers like that. I will guarantee you we would have over 1,000 reviews, but there's only about 300 there. And I've talked to 20 people that I know, like, they won't let me leave a review.
That's crazy.
Crazy, man. Great. They're just, you know, that's what Amazon is, you know, and they're listening right now. You know, I know they are. Well, so stop doing that, Amazon.
Well, when people watch this, you can put a review. This will be on YouTube. Put a review there as well. You know, if you're having problems with Amazon, definitely put it, because I highly recommend seeing Relentless. I think it's awesome. I think it's definitely a film, especially during these times, for people to watch and to push. And definitely check out DDPY. Download the app. I think it's awesome. It's great. And Dallas, I want to thank you so much for taking your time and, you know, telling your story. And just real quick, where can people once again follow you, find you?
Well, Instagram at Diamond Dallas Page, always at DDP Yoga. Twitter at Real DDP, at DDP Yoga. But the place, if you want to know more about my program and anything, go to that one word DDP Yoga member site and just read what people write. Like, you can't, it's kind of like people chanting your name. It's so hard to get them. They might say, "This is awesome." But for them to chant your name, that's the key. You can't make people do that. That's what writing on the internet is about. When you can get people to write stories about what's happening in your life that's directly connected to this, and how it's changing their life, and how they want to help inspire or are looking for hope, you can't pay for people to do that. It's only because authenticity, because they don't push shit out there that's not. So you want to check the program out, go to ddpy.com. It's 7 free days on the app. Cost you nothing to try it. Bro, it's been your pleasure. I'm out of here.
Thank
Bang.
you. Have a good one, man.
See you, buddy.